Why have you suffered so? This is the question to conservatives. So he says, let me ask, and I'm going to go through this one by one. Gays and lesbians can now marry and enjoy the benefits they've been deprived of. Question: has this caused your suffering? When Obama took office, the Dow was 6,626. Now it is 19,875. Has that caused your suffering? We had 82 straight months of private sector job growth, the longest streak in the history of the United States. Has that caused your suffering? Especially considering where the economy was when he took over. An amazing 11.3 million new jobs were created under President Obama, far more than President Bush. Has that caused your suffering? Obama has taken unemployment from 10% down to 4.7%. Has that caused your suffering? Homelessness among U.S. veterans dropped by half. Obama shut down the U.S. secret overseas prisons. Has that caused your suffering? President Obama has created a policy for the families of fallen soldiers to have their travel paid for to be there when remains are flown home. Has this caused your suffering? We landed a rover on Mars. Has this caused your suffering? We passed the Matthew Shepard Hate Crime Prevention Act. Uninsured adults has decreased below 10%. 90% of adults in America are insured. An increase of 20 million adults. Has that caused your suffering? People are now covered for pre-existing conditions. Insurance premiums increased an average of $4,677 from 2002 to 2008. That was an increase, because everybody talks about the increase. That was an increase of 58% under Bush. The growth of these insurance premiums has gone up 4,145, a slower rate of increase. A slower rate of increase. Obama added billions of dollars to mental health care for our veterans. Has that caused your suffering? Consumer confidence had gone from 37.7, now get this, to 98.1 during Obama's tenure. Again, the question: has that caused your suffering? He passed the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act. Ladies, yesterday, has that caused your suffering? His biannual nuclear summit convinced 16 countries to give up and destroy all their loose nuclear materials so they could not be stolen. He saved the U.S. auto industry. American cars sold at the beginning of his term, American cars sold 10.4 million. Upon him leaving office, they were selling 17.5 million. Has that caused your suffering? The deficit as a percentage of the GDP has gone from 9.8%, wow, to 3.2%. The deficit itself was cut by $800 billion. Has that caused your suffering? Oh, stay with me. He preserved the middle class tax cut. He banned solitary confinement for juveniles in federal prisons. Has that caused your suffering? He signed credit card reform so that rates could not be raised on your credit cards without you being notified. He outlawed government contractors from discriminating against LGBT persons. Oh, here we go. He doubled Pell Grants. Has that caused your suffering? Abortion is down. Violent crime is down. He overturned the scientific ban. There was a ban on stem cell research. We forget that. Has that caused your suffering? He protected net neutrality, as I read from the internet. Has that caused your suffering? Obama extended the life of Medicare Insurance Trust Fund so that it would be solvent until 2030. Hey, Grandma, has that caused your suffering? Oh, stay with me. President Obama repealed Don't Ask, Don't Tell. He banned torture. Has that caused your suffering? High school graduation rates hit 83%, an all-time high. Has that caused your suffering? Corporate profits are up 144%. He normalized relationships with Cuba. Reliance on foreign oil is at a 40-year low. U.S. exports went up 28%. He appointed, compared to this cabinet, the most diverse cabinet ever. Has that caused your suffering? He reduced the number of troops in both Iraq and Afghanistan. And we now are getting ready to send 1,000 troops now, get this, you heard it this morning, to Kuwait. Did that cause your suffering? Oh, don't forget this. And yes, he killed bin Laden and retrieved all the documents in his possession for analysis. Has that caused your suffering? Then the person wrote, in conclusion, from an objective standpoint, if you want to be objective, it would appear that the last 8 years have seen some great progress. And we were saved from a financial collapse. Now, things are not perfect. Things can always be better. We are on much better footing now than we were in 2008. Let me repeat. We are on much better footing now than we were in 2008. So here's what I'm closing with the same question. How can you get on talk radio, conservative talk radio? How can you sit there and listen to people tell you you suffered for 8 years under President Obama I know you hate this word, with these facts?